everyone, I'm Audrey.
And I'm Vivian.
And we're from Oh So Lovely blog. Welcome to Hometalk TV. Now let's get started. What I'm going to do, this is about 87 inches by 87 inches. So I'm going to do roughly about 4-inch sections to have 8 colors. So Viv's going to help me. We're going to tape off each section. So I'm just going to use this guy just to kind of make sure we're kind of staying on track. It doesn't have to be perfect, and you don't even have to use measurements if you want to do them a little bit different. So Viv, if you could put your finger down, we're going to do 4 inches. Yeah, put it down about right there. There you go. And then I'm going to use that. Okay, perfect. And you can lift. I'm just going to kind of use this masking tape. You can use frog tape, painter's tape, whatever you have. This is what I had on hand. I usually like to use more painter's tape. But you're just going to want to kind of have a crisp, somewhat even line. This can be kind of organic. Doesn't have to be perfect again. And I'm going to have a white stripe in between each of the colors. And we're going to go in the order of a rainbow. Okay, we have 8 sections taped off, and as you can see, they're about even, but some of them maybe are a little thicker than others, and that's totally fine. I like a little bit less perfect look. You can do whatever you prefer. You could get a ruler, you can get a pencil if you want to mark it exactly. You could also not do a stripe pattern. You could even do something more like a chevron or a herringbone, so whatever you want to do. We are going to go ahead and get started with the fun part, which is spraying. So each of these are really handy. All you have to do is shake it. And the thing about this I like is it's non-toxic and it's permanent once it's set with an iron. So what I'm going to do is spray each of these sections the color in the rainbow, and Viv's going to help me. And then we let it air dry, and then we're going to set it with an iron. So I'm going to show you just kind of how to get started. And Viv, you're going to help me with the first one. And what I'm going to do here, for overspray, I have these trash bags like I mentioned because I definitely don't want to get any on the countertop. I'm going to do some here too, just because I don't want it to spray onto the next section. So we're going to try and kind of keep that over the top of each section while we spray, just to kind of be careful. And we'll just push that down as we go. And you could do a wet blanket or a dry, but if you want it to be a little more saturated in color, they recommend dry. So that's what we're going to be doing. So here we are. As you can see, it's a nice vibrant color. So we have the tape that'll keep kind of a pretty crisp line. And I think I kind of want this to look a little bit maybe worn, so it's not completely saturated everywhere. And you're going to see in this muslin material, there are going to be some different folds that might not get the paint. And we're going to kind of see how that looks. But if you want to try and avoid some of that, you can, I'm glad I have the overspray on. You can kind of just pull it tight like I did here, just to kind of get in there a little bit more. Look at that. What do you think? And what I think I'll do before I move on to the next color is just kind of make sure in some of these folds, just to go ahead and straighten them out a little bit. But honestly, that looks kind of cool. If you like that look where you have a little bit of the white striations, that's totally your call. I'm going to go ahead and kind of try and fill those in a little bit. Okay, so I have everything taped off except for the section I'm going to be spraying with the red. And I just used little bits of tape here just to kind of make sure the paint can't get underneath it. And as you see here, there's a little bit of overspray with the color above, but what's nice about going in a rainbow pattern is this red will cover it right up and you won't even be able to see. So I'm going to do this half, and then Viv's going to work on that half when we get there. And one other thing about this material, it depends on what you're using. You could just use a cotton blanket, but you might want to iron this before you start spraying. That way you have a little bit less of the creases. I put it in the dryer about an hour before starting this, and that didn't really take much of the wrinkling out. And I do know that muslin's kind of like that. So if you want super, super crisp, you might want to iron it beforehand. Peel a little of this tape back to kind of see what we're working with on the section that I started with, so that will be the most dry. Okay, so it's kind of a little bit of a it's not a straight line, which I actually really like. I like these little white striations kind of through it. I like how it's not even. That's looking pretty cool. I'm liking this so far. So what we're going to do is peel the tape off of every section, and then we're going to take it outside and let it air dry for a little bit, and then once it's dry, then I'm going to put the trim around it. And honestly, you could even stop without doing the trim. I think this is cool on its own, but we'll add a little bit of flair to it. Okay, our blanket has air dried and we love the way it turned out. I like how you can kind of see some of the bleeding in the lines. It makes it a little more organic feeling, and the colors are just so bold. So this is a washable blanket, but first we have to seal it in with the iron. So I'm gonna go ahead and just iron this up, and then I'm gonna show you quickly how we might trim it out with some pom-poms, but you could definitely decide to be done after the ironing step. So I'm just gonna go over the entire blanket with the iron. Okay, so I've ironed the whole blanket, and now it's time to add a little embellishment, and we decided we wanted to kind of hot glue this ribbon with cute little pom-poms hanging from it, just on the two ends, the long ends, just to give it a little bit of something, but you can definitely skip this step if you want or use another material. I think it's gonna be super cute. All right, the blanket found its home in Vivi's room, and I absolutely love the pom-pom detail on the ends and how vibrant the colors are. It looks awesome in her room. What do you think, Viv? You like it? Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Bye.